My name is Gabriella, and I'm the event planner for our group. We're going to have a great meetup today, but I want to tell you about our event in January. We're having the Do More Deals Summit in Fort Lauderdale. All of the biggest partners and agents are flying across the U.S. They're all coming to speak to us, to get us revved up for the new year, to make sure we do more deals next year.
And a wonderful testimony to that is that young man right there. So what did you tell me in the bathroom today?
This year is my best year yet.
Prior to getting into the ecosystem, how much money were you making?
I made 60,000.
Okay, got it. And then what are you on track to make this year? $250,000. People say these things are like proximity is power, but what is your kind of testimony to that? What's true for you? Why is that happening in your experience? Because I know what they don't is you actually texted me about a year ago. He was this close to getting a job, this close. He was like, bro, I got kids, like I need to pay my rent. Like it was, right? Mm-hmm. And me and him had a conversation. You decided not to take that route. You decided to survive in the jungle, not live in the zoo. Why do you think that that's happening for you?
Most importantly, I think it's just following the step by step that's given, listening to what this beautiful man is recommending.
Hey, how many times did me and you go like this on calls? Frequently, because he would come and he'd start giving me excuses and stuff, and with love, because the person who actually loves you the most will challenge you the most. Everybody who's like, hey, you're good just the way you are. No, I know they mean well, but it's not actually going to help you. So I love that for you. I love that for your family. I think that's amazing. This is where you get the juice. If you're local here, if you're not local and you're tuning in, because we're streaming this on YouTube right now, we'd love to have you at the event. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for your trust. So this young lady next to me is the wonderful, powerful Dynamo, the mighty mouse, right? Miss Idalis. And I had the good fortune of working with Idalis personally as her coach for 3 years. She's very persistent, and the only thing she wanted to talk to me about every single time was role playing. Because what I've learned in this business is that the leads aren't the hard part. You just turn on the spigot, leads come. Yeah? What's the hard part? Who wants to tell me? Converting. Converting is a skill. It's what to say and how to say it. Now, the thing about skills is I would love to be able to outsource push-ups to the Philippines and I get diesel. That would be awesome. Is that the way skills work? No, you have to acquire them over an extended period of time. Yes? The only way you can truly know something, knowing in Greek means to have a direct experience with. Is that the same as watching on YouTube? No. I have to know, I have to do, right? I have to have a direct experience. So we did that for years. Mm-hmm. And she became an assassin on the phone. Okay? If you've ever watched any of her stuff, I'm telling you, watch her on YouTube, watch her on her platforms. She's a ninja on the phone. And then she took this skill and she applied it to the creative side of real estate. Even though I gave her a little static about it, right? Because my mind was closed to that particular option. And good for her that she had the intestinal fortitude to not listen to me in that regard. And now she helps agents to learn how to do both sides of the transactions, off market and on market. Because what I would propose or suggest, and then we'll get into kind of the role playing stuff, you need an accurate assessment of reality in order to produce a good outcome. I didn't say that. A guy named Ray Dalio said it. Anybody know who Ray Dalio is? He's one of the richest guys on planet Earth. Okay, he started the largest hedge fund in his garage. So when he speaks, you should probably listen as it pertains to like building wealth. And he said you need an accurate assessment. What do you think he means by that? You gotta know where you're at. What else? How do we have filters? Do we perceive things accurately? Often, no, not all the time. We don't, right? So he's saying you need to see things the way that they are, not the way you would like them to be or the way you think they are, but the way they actually are. Because then and only then can you make decisions in accordance with that and you'll get the outcomes that you want, right? So for instance, let's say I said to all of you guys in this room, I don't believe gravity's real. Great, go jump off the building and see if it's real. What's the reality of the marketplace that we're in? For whether it's on the creative side or on the retail side. The reality of the marketplace that we're in is we went from 6.5 million transactions to 3.9 million. That's persisted for 3 years in a row. These are called the facts. It's the way it is. We also have the cost of money twice as high as what it was 3 years ago. Anybody notice that even though we've been lowering Fed funds rate, it hasn't changed interest rates for mortgages? Independent of our stupid posts. Rates are coming down, now's a good time to buy. That's dumb. Okay. We also have an affordability problem. To go back to the affordability of 2016 to 2019, one of three massive things would have to happen. Number one, prices would have to come down 40%. Number two, interest rates would have to drop to 2.35%. Or number three, average household income would have to jump 60% to $134,000 a year. Let me ask all of my smart brothers and sisters here and online, what's the probability of any one of those three things happening anytime soon? I'm sorry? Now, when I start to have this conversation with people are like, well, you'd be a really negative, Ellen. I thought this was going to be a positive uplifting event. But remember, Ray told us what? You need an accurate assessment of reality in order to produce a good outcome. Yes? That's what's true. So in that environment, the question is what lead sources should I be focused on? What skills do I need to learn to get my unfair share of that business? Can we agree on that? Yes or yes? That's the focus that we're going to spend our time together today. And what you'll see is that these skills, they're transferable, right? So the skill of pre-qualifying on the retail side is really no different than the skill of pre-qualifying on the creative side. The context might be a little different, words might be a little different, but the underlying process is the same. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And because you lead a community now teaching agents how to do this, what do you see is the biggest challenge for people making that transition and converting?
I think that agents compartmentalize the skill, and they think that in order to do listings, you need one skill, and in order to do creative deals, you need another skill. But you're really just adding to the skills you already have, which is getting really good at the pre-qual script, and during that pre-qual script, recognizing where there's an opportunity to present another solution, and then matching the right solution. So it's breaking out of that I only do one thing mindset and opening up to just more solutions for the seller.
Yeah, which really adds more value, does it not?
Yeah.
Because the truth is, who would they rather deal with? Us or like a real estate agent or an investor?
A real estate
They'd
agent.
rather deal with us. We've created a whole industry that shouldn't exist. Yeah? Because we should be providing those solutions. We're in their house with them. Does that make sense? We just have cut ourselves off from it and we're like, oh, we don't do that, right? Or that's a naughty or a bad thing.
Yeah, and it's also the misconception about what investors do, because there's this barrier between investors don't like agents and agents don't like investor. One of my missions in life is to eliminate that barrier and make it to where there's synergy. Because at the end of the day, we work with sellers, motivated sellers, and we add value. So we do the exact same thing. So if we can blend both worlds, we'll be able to serve sellers at a higher level.
Let's get into the actual kind of conversion, because that's what we really want to know about. Because we can have conversations with you about what lead sources are working, whether it's probate or cash offer leads, or do you have cold callers that are calling, making cash offer leads on your behalf. Eventually you're going to have to speak to them, and eventually you're going to have to convert. And what I believe to be true, and I'm watching it happen with people in our organization who are implementing this strategy, is that the model is the following. You put all of your leads in a funnel: probates, past client centers of influence, cash offer leads, pay per lead, Facebook leads, whatever you're doing. You get really, really good at asking surgical questions, right? Around motivation, time, decision makers, to determine what are we actually interested in. Is this retail or is this creative? If it's retail, we were just speaking, right? You've been doing wholesale for 7 years. And up until now, until this point, retail hasn't been something that you've really paid attention to or focused on.
Avoided it like a plague.
He avoids it, which is so fascinating to me, right? And I shared with him where I had this epiphany, this awareness. I was at an investor event. That's where I saw you, right before you partnered with us. All these people came up to me and they're like, yeah, I do wholesale. And I'm like, okay, great. I do 20 deals a month. Awesome. You must be making 200 offers a month. Yes. How many listings are in there? They're like, I don't know, maybe 10. I'm like, what do you do with them? Nothing. You realize the average commission is $15,000? You're leaving $150,000 a month on the table by being like, I don't do that. I'm an investor. It's silly. And then the retail people would come up to me and be like, hey, I do 100 deals a year. Great. What do you do when somebody wants an off-market deal? Nothing. I have an investor that I give it to. It's like, why are you doing that? So I believe that that's the model of the future. But in order to, like we were discussing, in order to really take advantage of that model and get your unfair share of the business, I have to get really, really good at the conversion piece.
The process of qualifying a lead is the same, whether it's an investment or a listing. And I heard you talk about you just do wholesaling. We had to have a big shift in mindset because we were doing just listings for a really long time. And then we transitioned to just doing wholesaling for a while. And then we realized we had that same kind of mindset shift of what are we doing with these other leads? And it was because at that moment we felt we only wanted to do this one thing. And the moment we opened up our mind to both is when our business really started to grow. So we pivoted to doing a lot more listings this year because we've decided that we're just here to serve the seller. It doesn't matter what they need. We're not trying to convince someone on something that they don't want to do. One thing you will realize as you talk, the moment you're trying to convince someone, you've lost the battle. Aaron says that all the time.
That's right.
So we're not trying to convince someone to take a cash offer that wants retail, or we're not trying to convince someone that wants retail to take a cash offer. We're just trying to align a solution with what they need. So in order to determine what somebody needs, there's key questions you have to ask. Number one is motivation. What's going on, right? And it's very simple. Hey, Mr. Seller, what even has you thinking about selling the property? Simple question, right? And then from there, this is where it requires a higher level of skill because a lot of agents stay surface level. Oh, I'm looking to downsize. Great. I've had
they
enough
move on.
information. I'm
Yeah,
ready.
I'm ready. Because I know, because what it is it's kind of like everything's a nail. So like, if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So everybody's trying to like smash. I'm actually not interested in what you're going to tell me, is what that demonstrates. I don't really care. But by saying like, well, we're looking to relocate. Okay, and if you don't mind me asking, when you say relocate, is that somewhere locally? You're looking to go somewhere out of town? And they're like, well, out of town. Okay. And then I'm curious, like and I'm clear that as an if you guys did decide to move out of town, like how would your life improve in some way? What would be the benefit to you personally? Like you keep digging around motivation, right? To find out sincerely, what are they trying to do? And you said something before, which I think is really important because I noticed that it had an impact. So how many people have this belief? Salespeople solve problems. Do we have that actual belief? Okay. Salespeople actually are around and in our lives to help us and do good. Do we have that belief? Yeah. You're the only one being honest.
Some people are just saying,
you're the only one being honest. So like what I'm aware of is like, I think we harbor this belief internally. I personally view that sales is a noble profession. It's no different than like the salespeople are to the economy what screenwriters are to Hollywood. Yes, but the pivot goes away from what you just said, which is a big pivot. Because 65% of us grew up in families that live paycheck to paycheck. So because of that, we heard things like money doesn't grow on. Eat all the food on your, and a penny saved is a penny. Yeah, which is not true, it's just a penny. And if you want something done right, you need to do it your. Wow, it got to wherever you were. That's amazing. Isn't that interesting? But think about that mindset. And we're infusing that into conversations with people. And if we're not careful, I'm actually not interested in what's best for you. I'm interested in what's best for me. So the pivot becomes, hey, we're going to go over some options and choices. And whatever you decide, I'm going to support you 100%. I'm completely unattached to the outcome. And that was probably difficult for you at first, no?
It's full transparency. I mean, as a salesperson, like we want to close and we get overly attached to this concept of who we are as closers and we get deals. And that's the wrong way to look at it because then it puts you in that frame where like you're going to close no matter what. And you're going to just do whatever needs to be done to get the sale versus serving. I shifted a lot of my conversations and the way I talk to people, being curious about their situation versus having an idea of what I want to do. Which from a real estate standpoint, if we want a listing, we're going in hard. Like, I'm going to get a listing signed today. And that energy comes off. And what if you're having a listing conversation and the seller's like, look, I don't want to list because I don't want people walking in and out of the house because I had a seller once that had like 10 cats. Every time I have to show the house, if I gotta take care of my cats, and what if one of the cats leaves? It sounds silly, but for them, that was something that was like, they didn't want to deal with that. So for them, having just a cash buyer where they knew it was one person and it was gonna close and their cats were taken care of, we had to relocate the cats. Like these things happen, right? That was more important for them. But if I had come into that conversation with like, I'm gonna get a listing no matter what, there's a difference between objections and like real concerns that the sellers has. An objection is like, what's your commission? That means they're like ready to do business with you. We just have to understand the commission component and then we can close. But like, I just don't want to list the property because I don't want that process. That's different. That's not an objection.
It's like a condition.
You're not listening.
You're not listening to me.
Yeah.
If you kind of reflect, like if you think as we're saying this, like how many times have you not listened to somebody? They're telling you, I don't want to do that. And you're like, yeah, but I would, like, here's how it can work. And here's, like, you're not listening to me. Yeah. Yes? And having the ability, because if I'm one-dimensional, I don't have the ability to go anywhere else, right? So instead of, like, when somebody reaches out on, like, a cash offer lead, and we get into motivation, but prior to getting motivation, it sounds like you've reached out, with regards to getting your home sold. Just so I'm clear, because whatever you decide is perfectly okay, we can help either way. Would you prefer to sell it on the open market, or would you prefer to sell it off market? And then shut up. And then they'll tell you. They'll be like, well, I don't know the difference. It's like, well, okay. And then you get into the difference. And then we start to go down the path of motivation.
So motivation is the first thing we need to uncover, right? Whatever conversation, whether you're cold calling, you're doing a PPC lead, then we get into time frame and urgency. What's the ideal time frame that you want to sell the property? That gives us a lot of information.
And what would that sound like?
Hey, what's the ideal time frame you want to sell the property?
Ideally, in terms of what you want, because that's what's most important. How soon would you like to get this property sold?
Yeah.
Simple. Right?
So there's a series of answers, right? It could be 30 days.
Well, and then I'm curious, 30, 60, but then let's say, because most agents stop there. Let's say somebody says, well, I want to sell it quick.
What's important about selling it quick? That's a question that a lot of agents miss because you could get a lot of information. So here are key components for a cash offer, right? Speed, right? It's either convenience or speed, or maybe the house needs a lot of repairs, or there's a really difficult situation that they're going through financially where they need to sell it and they can't wait. So time is crucial when it comes to determining what's going to be the best fit. So if they say quick, you can't just move away to the next question. You got to linger there and
Got to linger and dig. So tell me a little bit more about that. Like, if you don't mind me asking, if you are getting in situations where people are like, why is that important? It's because you're peppering them with questions in a staccato way. So if I was to walk up to Camille and be like, hey, why'd you wear that shirt? Why'd you wear those earrings? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Immediately you're gonna be like, what are you doing, bro? Get away from me. So these bridges, if you don't mind me asking, hopefully I'm not being too straightforward. The more you're willing to share, the better equipped I am to provide you with more information that could be helpful or useful. And that's my intention in asking, so I'm clear what's important about selling it quickly. Quickly, what does that mean to you? Quickly, is that if we got you an offer that was cash and can close in 5 days? Or is that within the next 30 or 60 days?
Yeah, and time allows you to be able to match them with the right solution, because if they've got a lot of time, they want to sell the property, but there's no real pool emotionally, financially, there's no distress. Like, the key word is distress. If there's distress, a lot of times the cash offer is going to be the best fit. Not all the time, but a lot of times. If there's distress and they need to sell quickly, now you've got to align them with the right solution, which is a cash offer. So quickly could mean I need to sell in 2 weeks because I'm about to lose my house and I'm about to go into an auction, right? In that instance, as an agent, even if you were the ninja of the agents, you're not going to get an offer in 2 weeks, and you're not going to be able to speed up the process where they don't lose their house. So maybe quick for them means I need to close in 2 weeks because I'm about to lose my house. And you're trying to list it, you're doing them a disservice. And I've seen it happen where the agent goes in, let me list it, I can get you an offer quickly. In that moment where you're in a high stress situation, it's not about getting an offer quickly. It's about working with an investor that understands the procedures when someone's going into auction, how to stop the sale. We need to get an attorney involved. Like, there's layers to that type of service.
That's right.
So motivation, time frame, and then the other piece is price. This is where a lot of people get stuck, is on the price component. Like, what can I offer?
Why do they get stuck?
One, they don't know how to ask price. Two, they don't know how to get the seller's real asking price.
So what are they doing wrong?
They're going too quickly into, so rules of sales, right? You can't pitch until you know what the situation is.
Wait, stop. Is everybody clear on that? What do? We pitch before we even know what's going on.
Yeah.
Here's what I can do for you. Here's all my wares, yeah? But like, we don't even know what's going on. Imagine going to the doctor, right? And you're like, my head hurts. He's like, brain surgery. You're like, nope. I think you need to do some more testing before you determine that, yes? But that's what we do, no? You talk to them for 2 seconds, you're like, yep, it's okay. Like, I don't know what's going on.
And great salespeople understand that, but we're either too eager to get a sale, or like the bills got to get paid. So like, we're pitching every person. And what that does is it's a disservice to them, and it kind of repels them. So I'll give you like a life example, because I recently went to get a car. If you go into the dealership and they say, hey, welcome to the dealership, we've got this car with red interiors, brand new, you know, it has all these features. And I just stepped in and I'm like, look, I don't care about the red interiors or all those features. I want a simple black car that takes me from here to here. Now this person is working against themselves because they're trying to pitch me all these things that I don't care about. The same is true here when it comes to a sales conversation. So well,
and before you go on there, you're actually, like, people don't go to a dealership not with the intention to buy something. Like, you're actually interested.
Yeah.
But they're repelling you. They're pushing you away.
Yeah.
Instead, when you come in, because if you learn this process, you could sell anything, doesn't matter. Yeah. Instead, when that person came in, they're like, hey, how are you? My name's Aaron, nice to see you. I'm curious, what brings you in today?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I'm interested in getting a car. Okay. And ideally for you, did you have an idea of what you were thinking about? Yeah. And I'm wondering, in terms of your purchase, like, you know, it's oftentimes people purchase a similar car to the one they had last time. So what do you currently drive? Well, I drive this. Okay. What do you like about that? I like this, this, and this. Okay. And ideally, in terms of what you want, time frame wise, how soon are you looking to make a purchase?
Yes.
If you saw what you wanted today, would you be willing to proceed? I probably would. Okay, great. Now what's happening? Now she's going to have a fantastic experience. She's like, yeah. Aaron's amazing.
Yeah.
All I did was...
Aaron would be a great car salesman, by the way.
The point is, but do you see, once you learn this process, you can apply it to anything.
Yeah.
When I was heavily in production, I would make 12 contacts a day and set 2 appointments. But I'm only calling like probates. I'm only calling people that have really high, statistically. I'm making data-driven decisions.
And those are free lists?
Well, no, you have to pay for those lists. So what I did is I sent people to the courthouse to get the data, because it's not a highly productive use of my time to go get it.
Yeah.
But I would send them to get it. There's also third-party vendors that can provide it for you. And I'm again making a data-driven decision. I'm going to swim in pools that have high degrees of probability of doing business. Does that make sense?
Yeah.